This is episode number 667 of the Cliff Ravenscraft Show.
Entertaining, educational, and encouraging content that makes a difference.
This is GSPN.TV.
Join the community.
Are you ready to take your message, your business, and your life to the next level?
Want to learn from someone with more than a decade of experience, training tens of thousands of people from all around the world?
Hi, Cliff. This is Pauline from Auckland, New Zealand.
John from Calgary, Alberta.
Amy Porterfield.
Michael Hyatt.
Dan here from Dunedin, New Zealand.
Ray Edwards. Mark Mason. Mike Stelzner.
Pat from Smart Passive Income.
It's Darren from Melbourne, Australia.
Now is the time to live the life of your dreams and do the work you feel most called to do in the world.
Welcome to the Cliff Ravenscraft Show.
Here's your host, Cliff Ravenscraft.
I have a question for you. Have you been trying to break through to a whole new level of success in your life with lots and lots of hurried, heavy effort, only to find yourself exhausted in the process? Today, I'm going to share with you something that I felt inspired to come to the microphone with today. When I recorded what you're about ready to hear, I had no idea which podcast I was going to put this into, but it's clearly an episode of the Cliff Ravenscraft Show. Hey, before I share with you the main thrust of today's conversation, I want to let you know, because this podcast here, the Cliff Ravenscraft Show, officially began in December 2006. It was 1 year into podcasting that I launched this podcast, which is now the Cliff Ravenscraft Show. Did you know, by the way, that this was the 5th podcast that I had produced? Before this show ever was launched, I had a podcast called Generally Speaking, which became the Weekly Lost Podcast, or the Lost Podcast of the Generally Speaking Production Network. After the Lost Podcast, I created a show called My Crazy Life. That was the second show. That show eventually became Pursuing a Balanced Life. Lots of rebranding happening in my past. Then after that, I created a third show, which was a faith-based show, which was called About the Church, which was later rebranded to Encouraging Others Through Christ. And a fourth show, and most people don't even know about this, I had a music podcast. It was called Musically Challenged. Anyway, that was my 4th podcast, and the 5th podcast that I ever launched was this podcast. Although at the time it was not called the Cliff Ravenscraft Show. It was called, and some of you know this already, Podcast Answer Man. And for 438 episodes on a weekly basis, I shared my insights, my thoughts, and my love and passion for the world of podcasting. In 2016, I made a bold decision after more than a decade as the Podcast Answer Man, where I had been personally responsible for training more than 40,000 people in this world how to launch a podcast. I made the decision that I wanted to offer more to the world than answering their technical questions about what cables they need, what microphone, and how to get rid of that buzzing sound, and why isn't my podcast showing up in a podcast directory? Do I have the answers to those questions? Yes. Is it the best use of my time, effort, and energy to answer those questions on a daily basis, hours and hours and hours every single day, answering those questions, when there are more important questions to get answers to in life? And the answer to that question was no, that I want to do something different with my life. And that's when I made the decision to go from being Podcast Answer Man to Mindset Answer Man. And I made the decision after 438 episodes of this podcast to rebrand it to what it is now, the Cliff Ravenscraft Show. Now, what you may not know, most people are not aware of this, but when I made that decision, I knew that one day I would bring back an all-new version of the Podcast Answer Man podcast. And I've done it. It was on August 16th. I released episode number 1 and episode number 2 of the all-new Podcast Answer Man. And if you look in your favorite podcast directory, Just do a search for Podcast Answer Man. There should be only 2 episodes from August 2021, or maybe 3 or 4 by the time you're listening to this, or who knows, you might be listening to this 10 years in the future, and there might be a lot of episodes there. But anyway, Podcast Answer Man is what you're looking for. If you want, you can just go to podcastanswerman.com, and that website has the links to Apple, Google Podcasts. I think it also has the link to Spotify, and there's the RSS feed there. So go check it out, podcastanswerman.com. It's back. The number one question I've been getting from some of my peers in the industry and in the space, they're like, dude, why? Why did you do this? And maybe that'll be an episode that I'll do at some point in the future. Hey, quick update just to let you know. The answer to the question of why did I bring back Podcast Answer Man? It's actually included in episode 3 of the Podcast Answer Man. Just thought I'd share that. Today's content is something that I felt inspired to share, and I'm just gonna let my recording that I recorded right before I started this intro take it for itself, because it's what I felt inspired to come to the microphone with today. So without any further ado, here's what I recorded just for you. I discovered another new book that caught my interest yesterday. It's called Psych-K. Actually, it's called Psy-K is what I've learned, but it's spelled P-S-Y-C-H, like psych, as in psychology, hyphen K. The subtitle of the book is The Missing Piece in Your Life. Now, it actually has the word P-I-E-C-E, like there's a missing piece to the puzzle. But the word P-I-E-C-E is crossed out, and there's a big red marker font that says P-E-A-C-E in all capital letters. So it's the missing piece in your life. And it's by Robert M. Williams, M.A. I discovered this book by chance. Actually, there is no such thing as chance. I'm coming to firmly believe. I believe that I am living a life where my path is illumined, and that there are divine appointments, not just with people, but with materials, such as this. Anyway, I was browsing on TikTok, and there was this one of those part 3 of 5, and I went, and part 3 of 5 of this little video clip was very intriguing. I went back and watched part 1 of 5, 2 of 5, 3 of 5, and then I got to 4 of 5, where it mentions this book just in passing. It's almost as a footnote that most people would never capture, but for me, there was a prompting. There was an urging, there was a nudging from within. This is a book you should pay attention to. There is a beautiful story in here that really captured what I recognize so much from my own life. I would have never thought of this story of The Fly, about trying smarter versus trying harder. How it is we sometimes become our own worst enemies. And the fact that it's not actually we're consciously sabotaging ourselves. And it's not like there's some subconscious mind that's our devil on our shoulder trying to cause us to mess up in life. It's just that our subconscious mind is working against us based upon programming code. Let me just read to you the story of The Fly. I'm sitting in a quiet room at the Millcroft Inn, in a peaceful little place hidden back among the pine trees, about an hour outside of Toronto. It's just past noon, late July, and I'm listening to the desperate sounds of a life or death struggle going on just a few feet away. There's a fly. A small fly burning out the last of its short life's energies in a futile attempt to fly through the glass of the window pane. The whining wings tell of the poignant story of the fly's strategy Try harder. But it's not working. His frenzied effort offers no hope for survival. Ironically, the struggle is part of the trap. It's impossible for the fly to try hard enough to succeed at breaking through the glass. Nevertheless, this little insect has staked its life on reaching its goal through raw effort and determination. This fly is doomed. It will die there on the windowsill. Across the room, 10 steps away, the door is open. 10 seconds of flying time, and this small creature could reach the outside world it seeks. With only a fraction of the effort now being wasted, it could be free of this self-imposed trap. The breakthrough possibility is there. It would be so easy. Why doesn't the fly try another approach? Something dramatically different. How did it get so locked in on the idea that this particular route and determined effort offer the most promise for success? What logic is there in continuing until death to seek a breakthrough with more of the same? No doubt this approach makes sense to the fly. Regrettably, it's an ideal that will kill. Trying harder isn't necessarily the solution to achieving more. It may not offer any real promise for getting what you want out of life. In fact, trying harder, it's a big part of the problem itself. If you stake your hopes on a breakthrough, on trying harder than ever, you may kill your chances for success. Now, I don't know about you, but as I heard this story, and I heard it in my mind, I was visualizing it. Matter of fact, I felt so drawn into the story, the kind of emotional state and the tonality of my voice. This is the way that I was picturing it in my mind. As I read this the very first time, I actually took the time. I was reading this line by line. I imagined this Millcroft Inn out beyond the pines. And as soon as he says, I'm just a few feet away, there's this sound of this life and death struggle. At first, I thought it was like maybe there was two humans fighting it out to the death or something of that nature. But then I learned, it's a fly. I really got sucked into this story. And you and I, we know this story. We've been this fly, haven't we? Oh my gosh. Wow. This reminds me of what Jesus spoke about. He says, listen, you toil, you're filled with worry, you try to work hard and all this other stuff. And I'm telling you, listen, be anxious about nothing. Don't worry about anything. If you will just come to me, I will give you rest. I will give you peace for your soul. You will find peace. I will lead you beside still waters. And if you could just break free from your frenzied effort to break through the glass that you do not have the ability to break through, if you would just sit back and say, well, I know my outcome. My outcome isn't to get through this glass to the outside world where I can live out the rest of my very short life according to my desires as a fly or as a human. That's not my outcome. My outcome is to get back to the outside world. But somewhere along the way, I programmed my mind to say, I have to get through this glass. This is the way that I need to go about doing it. I get so laser focused. I tell my subconscious mind, we need to get through this glass. We need to get through this glass. We need to get through this glass. And that's not the goal. The goal is not to get through the glass. The goal is to get outside. Now, as I'm speaking this, and one of the reasons why I wanted to come and record a piece of content about this is because I know for me, I can read a book like this, I can highlight, I can take notes. But it's when I teach something like this, for me, that's where the insight comes from. It's where it gets driven deeper into my subconscious mind. And this isn't in the book yet, and I suppose from what I read in the earlier chapters of this book, I believe it will. The fly analogy story is going to be carried out throughout the entire book. It's already been throughout the 6 chapters that I've read so far. The goal isn't a dollar figure. The goal isn't fame. The goal isn't finding that special someone and getting married and all of that stuff. You know what the goal in life is? To experience peace. The missing piece. What happens is you could realize it's like, wait a second. What if I actually do take this approach? Be still and know that I am God. What if there is something in that statement that we've not thought about before at the deepest level? What if we have not thought about seek first the kingdom of God? The kingdom of God is within. Go inside. Be quiet for a little bit. Evaluate where you are. Your desire is to get outside. Right now, you've programmed yourself. You've been programmed, or you've allowed the programming to exist, or you've been handed down some programming that tells you you just need to try harder on whatever solution you come up with. Your solution that you came up with, first idea that came to your mind, boom, go through the glass and try hard. No pain, no gain, right? It doesn't matter how painful it is, every attempt. It doesn't matter how much aching there is in your tiny little wings. It doesn't matter how fleeting your energy is. Put it all in. Try harder. That's what I've been programmed to think and to do. And I will never give up trying this thing that I have set. I have set my mind to it. I will go through this glass. There's nothing necessarily wrong with wanting what's on the outside of the glass. But there is something wrong about suffering through life by our old programming that says, try hard. No pain, no gain. Now, there are times in our life where that actually may be something that is beneficial to what it is that we do. And sometimes seeing success in a certain area, just trying harder and experiencing a little pain and getting through it, growing on the other side of it, yeah, that works. But is it a logic that fits all circumstances? And can you stop for just a little bit, be quiet, be still, evaluate the results you're getting, and ask, is trying harder going to get me to the ultimate goal? Oh, look at that. There's a door over there and people seem to be walking in and out of it. Whoa, wait a second. Did I just see my cousin, another fly right in that door? Did he just look at me, make eye contact with me, and then fly right back out? Oh my gosh, there's a door over there. What if I just sat back without any activity on my part and just observe what's around me? Reevaluate. What is it that I want? Do I want to get through this glass? I want what's outside. Is there a different way to get outside than what I've been trying? I mean, look at the windowsill here. I mean, gosh, I'd say that's probably about 3 generations of my species right there on the windowsill. Do I want to end up like them? How do I avoid this? Yeah, I think Johnny might just have an idea there. I think I'll fly 10 seconds over to the door and see if I can't just make it outside. And then lo and behold, because I took the time to be still, to observe what's going on internally, externally, to reevaluate and reassess what are the results that I'm getting from this hurried effort of trying harder that everybody told me no pain, no gain. Doesn't seem to be getting me a lot of places right here. Is there a better way? Is there a more efficient way? There's more to that story than even I'm aware of right now, and I'm going to marinate in the story of the fly. And the cool thing is I immediately have been able to evaluate that story of the number of times in my life where I've been the fly. And I see the number of times when I've just pulled back from the hurried effort and where I found an alternative route to get what I wanted. And it was easy. And of course, I do a lot of coaching, as you are aware. And I sit here with my clients. Most every conversation that I have, I work with somebody who is currently the fly, attempting to break through the glass. And it's not going to happen. There has to be a moment where they stop, quiet their mind, do a little internal reflection. What caused me to do this? What is my outcome here? What do I really want? Is there a better way? Do I have to experience all of this stress? Do I have to experience all of this pain? Or is there an easier way? And it's amazing how many times as a coach, I sit here week after week. Sometimes I say, now that you've let the cloudy water of your mind settle, and if things are a little bit more clear for you right now, look around. Is there another way? And I love it when they find the door for themselves. Are you taking the time to look for the door? That's what I wanted to share in this episode. I thought I would share more highlights, but as I've shared this is as much as I needed to share. The book, again, is called Psych, but it's PSYCH-K, The Missing Piece in Your Life by Robert M. Williams, M.A. It's an older book. It was only $5 on Kindle, I believe. And the first 5 chapters, incredibly powerful. There's a lot about our subconscious mind, our programming in it. I'm enjoying the book immensely. I know that I'll probably end up finishing this book by the end of the day today. So I will have read this book in under 24 hours. And who knows? I may come back and share more thoughts on it. I may not, but I believe maybe you were meant to hear this story of the fly today. And I believe that perhaps it might cause you to wake up from your frenzied, trying hard efforts to do something that may be futile when there is a different way. And you know what? For the last several days, I've been thinking I want to record an episode of the Cliff Ravenscraft Show that might inspire somebody to reach out to me for my coaching or for the Next Level Mastermind group. And if you want to learn about either of those opportunities, head over to cliffravenscraft.com, click the Work With Me page, and fill out an application. I'd love to consider you as a potential client in the Next Level Mastermind or my one-on-one coaching. If you have been frantically trying to break through the window pane where you see a life that you feel called to live just on the other side of that transparent pane of glass, and you've been butting up against it over and over and over again, I promise you this: the answer is inside of you. There is an easier way. You may actually think that what you want is to get through the pane of glass. I would love to help you evaluate if that's actually what you truly want. I would love to help you evaluate whether or not there's something deeper that you want out of life. And I would love to help you evaluate some of the beliefs that you've picked up from your parents, from your teachers, from other authority figures in your life who told you that the only way to get what you want are through these efforts. What I'd love to do is just help you evaluate the beliefs that you have. That's what we do for each other as business owners in the Next Level Mastermind group. That's what I do individually, one-on-one with my coaching clients. And if you'd be interested in evaluating that process, by the way, let me just say this. The number one thing that people reach out to me and say, Cliff, I've been thinking about the fact that I need a coach, and I really feel that coaching with you would be a great fit. I'm just really concerned about whether or not I could afford your rates. And here's what I want to tell you. I have a process that I bring people through. If I feel like you're a good fit, I will invite you into a complimentary one-on-one coaching experience with me, a 90-minute one-on-one call. It's my gift to you. It's complimentary. You'll never be invoiced for that time, and there is no expectation or any obligation that you'll ever become a paid client. Now, not everyone who applies for my coaching or applies for the mastermind group gets into that complimentary session. I am very discerning about who I bring in, and I'm not saying that if you apply and I don't bring you into that invitation, into that experience of my coaching, I'm not saying that you're not worthy of what I do or anything like that. I've learned who is the best fit for the type of coaching that I do, who I can get the best results for, and I'm not the right coach for everyone. That's really my discernment process. But if you do apply for my coaching and I get a sense that I think I could really serve you through the gifts and talents that I have, the abilities that I have, the education, experience, and expertise that I bring to the table, if I believe all of that will serve you in the evaluation of who you are, why you're here, what you truly want, what you're currently going after, how you're going after it, and evaluating if there's different ways and what programming inside of you needs to be evaluated and maybe updated to some new beliefs that will get you the life in alignment with who you feel called to be in this world. If I discern that the type of coaching that I do would be good for you, you don't have to worry about the price, because guess what? It's complimentary. It's my gift to you, and I'll just tell you the next step in the process. If at the end of that call, and not everybody gets invited to this next step, but if at the end of that call, I believe even further after working with you for 90 minutes that yes, I do believe that you would be a great fit for the type of work that I do through the Next Level Mastermind or through my one-on-one coaching, I would like to invite you into a second complimentary coaching experience, usually about 2 weeks later. But before I would do that, I'd make sure that you have some clarity and some insight that came out during our first call. I'd ask you about what kind of actions you're going to take as a result of that insight. And if I do discern that I want to move forward, I'll invite you into a second complimentary coaching experience. And I'll evaluate 2 weeks later and say, hey, how have the last 2 weeks been? And depending upon your answer and how that goes, by the way, that second call would be complimentary, no cost to you whatsoever, no expectation, no obligation whatsoever that you'll ever become a paid client. And at the end of that second call, if and only if I've discerned that the type of coaching that I do and the type of work that I do through the Next Level Mastermind and one-on-one would be a good fit, it's only then that I would ask you if you would like to even have a conversation about what it would be like for you and I to have an ongoing paid coaching relationship. It's only at that point that I actually talk to you about the pricing of said relationship. And it's only at that point where you could truly evaluate whether or not it's a good investment. That's how I do it. In fact, if you haven't heard about it, there's a podcast called Cliff's Notes on Profitable Coaching. I actually talk about where I learned this entire method called the Prosperous Coach Method for creating coaching clients from the Prosperous Coach book written by Steve Chandler and Rich Litvin. You can find this on my website. Just go over to cliffravenscraft.com, click on podcasts, and you will see a list of my podcasts, and Cliff's Notes on Profitable Coaching is there. There are 16 episodes where I talk about how you can have a profitable coaching business using this method. When I say that there's no expectation, no obligation that you'll ever become a paid client, I genuinely mean it. Now, again, I've done a lot of these experiences since July 2019 when I've learned of this method. I have mastered the skill of this method, and I can tell you right now, I know my stats, my numbers, and I have 53% of those that I make a proposal to. And again, I don't propose to everyone. Even if I've brought them through 2 90-minute sessions, even if I've coached them for 3 full hours, giving them the fullest experience of my coaching, I don't propose to everyone. But those who I do propose to, 53% of them say yes. And 47% say no for now. Some of those people actually did come back later and say, hey, let's work together. Some of them never did come back yet. And yet they have referred other people to me who were a great fit. That's this thing called the Prosperous Coach Method. That's how I generate my business. And when I say there's no strings attached, there are no strings attached. So if you were to apply for my coaching, just know this. There's the potential that you could have 3 full hours of an unlimited experience of the fullest expression of who I am as a coach to bear light on what it is you're dealing with in your life or what you're going after in your life. You may not get invited into that 3 hours of coaching, but I can promise you this. If you don't go to cliffravenscraft.com and click on the application for the Next Level Mastermind or my one-on-one coaching, if you don't fill out one of those 2 applications on the Work With Me page at cliffravenscraft.com, your chances of getting invited into those 3 hours of coaching are next to nil. So go do it if this has been speaking to you. That's all I wanted to say. Hey, by the way, if you haven't heard, I've been creating a lot of content lately. I currently now have 9 podcasts in current production, and they're easily identified and listed cliffravenscraft.com under the podcasts page. Anyway, I'll be back with more content here for the Cliff Ravenscraft Show as soon as I feel inspired to create that next episode. And until then, I do hope to see an application come from you for either the Next Level Mastermind or my one-on-one coaching. Go find it right now, cliffravenscraft.com. Click on the Work With Me tab and apply for one of those 2 programs. And until next time, I encourage you to take everything you do to the next level.
Mindset Answer Man.